The tunnel's clear!
Looks like Obi-Wan's distraction worked. Things seem to be going as planned.
It's when things do not go as planned that concerns me. What then?
It's when things don't go as planned that we Jedi are at our best. Trust me.
I deserve my trust for those who take action, General Skywalker.
Then let me remind you, we rescued you back there, and I reserve my trust for those who understand gratitude, Captain Tarkin.
You've never heard of the Millennium Falcon? Should I have? It's a ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs.
Hey everyone, and welcome to Kessel Run Weekly. My name is Danny.
And I'm Kristen.
And we have two very special guests with us on the show today that we're extremely excited about because they're family to us now. We have Cheyenne and Nick from Clone Wars Commentary with Cheyenne and Nick, you guessed it. So hey guys, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. So Cheyenne's been on a few episodes with us before. We've talked some Marvel, some Black Panther, Infinity War, all that good stuff. And now we're diving into your Star Wars knowledge. Because I know you've got it. You do like a Star Wars Sunday or something on your blog, right?
Yeah, Star Wars Sunday, usually every Sunday.
I feel that.
But yeah, I wanted something that was less like, this is going to sound weird, less bloggery about I go to Disney and here's what I write about when I go to Disney, or this is my life. I'm not a lifestyle blogger. I just kind of wanted an outlet to write, and Star Wars became that because I love it a lot.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So cool. So Cheyenne, tell us a little bit about your Star Wars fandom for the people who haven't met you yet.
In 1995, I was born. In 1999, when Phantom Menace came out, my family and I had moved to North Carolina, but we didn't have a house yet. It was being built.
Just like the Death Star.
Yeah, and my mom took me and my sister to go see Phantom Menace in the theater, and we were like, that'll take up one day. Maybe we'll go to the mall the next day. And my mom was like, we left that, and you were like, can we go see it tomorrow?
That's awesome.
And so for the rest of the week, we went and saw the Phantom Menace, and she said by the end of the week, you and your sister were having lightsaber battles in the aisleway of the theater, and Darth Maul became my favorite character, and I just wanted to watch more Star Wars. So then it kind of just dominoed down from there. My dad showed me the original trilogy, and I just got super into lightsabers for a little bit, and then now I'm an adult. And I'm doing the same thing.
That's awesome. I mean, adult's relative, so who really wants to be one? Yeah. Well, Nick, you brought something special to the show today that you recently got.
I did, yeah, a little piece of my collection.
You're gonna hit
as
me
I almost hit you in the face with.
It's fine. Turn it on.
Traitor!
I'll put the speaker next to. There we go. It's the Black Series Riot Baton.
Nice.
He's beating the table with it.
Yeah.
Because that's what you do with those things, of course.
What you do? Look at you in the face and yell traitor? Come on. There's someone who uses this thing.
Well, so guys, so that's Nick. So Nick, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm a photographer. My Star Wars fandom comes from a very interesting thing. So I was about 3, I think. I may have said something different in the last podcast I was in. But
we'll fact check you.
I don't really remember that well. I was going through my uncle's VHS collection, and I'm going through and I see this thing called Star Wars. And at the time, it was still Star Wars. It wasn't A New Hope. So I'm like, all right, what's this? And I put it in the VHS, and then I'm like, well, I guess I got 2 more movies to go to. Since episode 1 hadn't come out yet, and it was something I loved. And then episode 1 came out, saw that in theaters. Episode 2, saw that in theaters, and then I started collecting the toys, and obviously prop weapons, lightsabers, blasters, riot batons, and various other things. your Black Series figures, old Kenner figures, so many different things I collect and things I love. And it's kind of followed me around, follows me in my photography as well at the Disney parks, and with the upcoming Galaxy's Edge theme park, I am very, very excited to see what comes around.
Oh, I'm so pumped. So pumped.
Yeah.
So Cheyenne, what made you want to start this Clone Wars commentary show?
As much as I think I know about Star Wars, and I could go to bat any day about the prequels, that knowledge, I could do prequel trivia. It would be okay at original trilogy. But I got into Clone Wars and Rebels at the same time. They are not anywhere near produced at the same time. So I was just like, oh, there are Star Wars cartoons. Let me watch all of it all at once. And I didn't retain any of that. So to do Clone Wars commentary would be it's helpful for me to go back through and notice things and appreciate things, even if it's little or if it's big, or if it's something as cool as an Easter egg. I love those. Or just a callback to things. And then adding more to the story, because I also loved Anakin Skywalker. Don't at me, people on the internet. Love him.
Yes.
And so I was like, I gotta watch this. So.
Absolutely. So Clone Wars commentary actually comes out this Friday, which is really exciting. Your first episode. It'll be on our regular podcast feed for Kessel Run Weekly, so you don't have to follow anything extra. If you're already here, you got bonus. It's awesome. I've been privy to, all of them so far, and it's pretty great, guys. So Cheyenne, if you could tell them a little bit about what the show is, if you could go ahead and do that for me.
Can I do a pre-Nick and a post-Nick?
Sure.
Okay. So a pre-Nick, the show, and it will continue to be us watching the show, but pre-Nick, it's me just watching episodes, and so the listeners can hear the episode in the background, which I think is just a really cool aspect of the show in and of itself, because a lot of the times with commentary, it's a visual one where you are seeing a director talk about a specific spot in the movie. I think in this you get my real-time reactions. And so while they might not be in depth in that moment, you can kind of see what a fan's thoughts are as they're watching it. So I think that's pretty cool. Post Nick.
Your sequel trilogy era.
Yeah. Yeah. So once I met Nick, and we connected over Star Wars, we would again do the same thing. We're watching the show, and the comments are still they're the live reactions, but now there's banter, which I think adds a lot more content to it for the listeners, because then they can be like, oh my god, yeah, oh my god, no, or whatever.
Now there are two, no more, no less.
Yes, this is getting out of hand. That's awesome. I know that y'all are excited for it to come out. I'm super, super excited.
Me too.
So I know you've been working really hard on it, Cheyenne, for a while now, actually. And then with Nick joining the fold, it just amplifies it by the power of two. So it's definitely
because I have somebody here that gets it, but also has never we've never experienced Star Wars together. So, and that makes a huge difference.
Absolutely
of
does.
Experiencing Star Wars with someone else who's had different experiences as a whole. Love that.
True. I mean, we've connected with Star Wars and stuff, so.
Oh, absolutely, yeah, and then that's half the fun with Kristen. So, is getting to experience Star Wars a lot of times for the first time with her. So it's been
But
a lot
as
of
the
fun.
newer fan, I get to point out things he's never thought of.
That's true.
Ooh.
So things that I catch and notice, I'm like, ooh, what if this? What if that? And he's like, oh, I've never thought of that. I'm like, ha!
Yeah. I get it!
She has her moments.
I do.
So that's cool. So guys, definitely make sure you check out Cheyenne and Nick on Clone Wars Commentary with Cheyenne and Nick. And it comes out this Friday for their first episode. So yeah, don't miss that. It's awesome because Fridays for Clone Wars now.
As it used to be.
So sticking with the Clone Wars theme, I've got a bit of news.
Come closer, I have good news.
And I hear that you guys are fans of Battlefront II, just as we are. And we've got a certain ex-Jedi turned Sith Lord that had just been deployed into battle. Mr. Count Dooku, you guys have already played the character, correct?
I have not. He has.
So,
I played against him, so that counts.
well, we got 2 point of views. That's cool. Nick, what did you think about using him? What did you think about Dooku?
He was a lot of fun. Like, I love how elegant his lightsaber dueling is compared to someone like Grievous, who we just got, who's like a little rough around the edges. He's more flashy style fighting, while Dooku's just like, no. In fact, one of his moves, he puts his arm behind his back and just goes with one hand, and it's a really
cool
style, and it works, especially when the enemy doesn't have a lightsaber, because you just slash right through them and they're just done. So that does help quite a bit. I'm not the best at the game, but when I'm in arcade and I just hit that easy button, that's when I'm just like, yeah, no, I'm gonna destroy these people. It's online. Like,
said that very casually.
Yeah, I know, but that's kind of but yeah. He's fun. I definitely recommend him. I'm stoked for the Chosen One next month.
Oh, absolutely. Anakin is coming to Battlefront. That's going to be your thing, Kristen.
Yeah.
You love your boy Anakin.
Dude.
Cheyenne, how is it playing against Dooku?
So I didn't have to like beat him up or anything.
Same side.
That would have been sad for him.
I
had Darth Maul.
Yes.
So I was just like living my best life as my favorite character. But basically we didn't have like a great strategy when we first started, because we were like, oh my god, because we also battled on Geonosis, which was super fun. But when we figured it out, we like basically ended up, we wanted to be on the same area of the map because we couldn't see where any of our enemies were coming from.
Split screen is definitely not recommended for this version of Battlefront. If you have the first Battlefront 1 or Battlefront 2, please use split screen on that. It works a lot better.
Yeah, my split screen is weird, and I don't know if I can change it. But it worked out better when we would find each other and then figure out where the enemies were, so that works out well.
Thank God for maps.
Nice. Yeah, so I know with as far as his abilities, you had mentioned, I think they're calling it the duelist mode, as one of his abilities, where he does it's like overpowered kind of hits and everything. And then he's got a lightning ability that throws people to the ground.
Yes. Like, depending on like how you use it and where you use it, if you use it a certain way, the enemy will just go flying, and it's freaking hilarious.
That's crazy. That sounds pretty OP.
Nope. His lightning ability, I think, is better than the Emperor's, like, by far.
It sounds like it would be. If the Emperor could do that, I would be very frustrated all the time.
Sure.
And now, I had a question about his expose weakness ability. Because the way it looked in the gameplay is more like kind of like how Rey and Obi-Wan, they can kind of disorient, and you kind of do that. So can you tell me a little bit about that and playing that ability?
It's kind of similar to what Kylo can do, where you can kind of like freeze an enemy.
Okay.
From what I've experienced and what I've seen, it kind of like slows the enemy down just like by like 3 seconds. So as they're about to raise their weapon or shoot, it kind of slows them down, so you can kind of get in and get that quick slash in. I think he uses Form 2, I think.
Okay.
Forms, but yeah, very fast. He's very good.
Awesome. I'm excited to actually finally get to play Dooku. I haven't gotten to yet, because normally we stream when the characters come out, and I missed it this time. So, but another exciting thing about Dooku, though, I did see where his Dark Ritual appearance is going to be coming out, as of when this podcast released on January 30th.
Both me and Kristen had the same facial reaction to that. We were like, what?
Dark Ritual?
Dark Ritual, yes. It's from the Clone Wars.
Well, yes.
I'll have to show it to you later. It looks really awesome. It's basically like he's got armor, like shoulder plates and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Okay.
What were you thinking?
I don't know if you want to know.
Were you thinking like?
No. Okay. So I was thinking that episode where he tries to take over the Witchland. I can't think of what it's called. You always help me with this.
Dathomir?
Yes.
The witches?
Yes.
Yeah.
And she's like, has his hair, and also he has boils on his face. So I was like, are we getting Boiled Dooku? Like, because it's like a ritual she's performing. So that's all I could think about when you said ritual, was that the ritual she's performing where she's like beating up his little voodoo doll. And he's like, hey!
That would be the worst.
It really would. That's why I was really concerned. I was like,
yeah, you just have the boils just pulsing.
This is horrifying. This game was for kids. I'm just kidding.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, so, and then we got Anakin Skywalker, like you said, Nick, next month, which is very, very exciting.
So excited.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's the one I've been looking forward to the most, because Obi-Wan's been cool. Dooku looks like it's going to be fun to play as well. Grievous, I was kind of like, I don't really like playing him. But maybe I just haven't figured out how to play him.
Yeah, that's the trick. They just updated him recently and fixed the bugs. He works a lot better than he did when he debuted, so thank God for that.
Yeah, I wonder if that was a lot of the issue, too. Because, I mean, for whatever reason, I just couldn't land hits the way that, like, it was showing it should. So, yeah. So hopefully that's been fixed. But, yeah, and we got Grievous. But, I mean, you can't beat the Chosen One. Anakin, man.
No,
it's going to be awesome.
We have Matt Lanter coming back to reprise his role, which I'm so excited for him.
Absolutely. I'm so happy that so many of the Clone Wars voice actors came back for this. That made me so happy.
Yeah.
So cool. So that is all of our news for this week. I think it's time to go ahead and get on to our main topic. You guys ready?
Absolutely.
Ready.
As you are aware, the Citadel is their most isolated and impenetrable detention facility. No one has ever escaped.
There's a first time for everything.
Indeed there is.
Their security has prevented our probes from obtaining recent reconnaissance. So we've been forced to construct a crude map based upon data from the archives.
And since the data is extremely old, the map will be difficult to rely on.
So we're essentially going in blind.
Beg your pardon, General. But how do we know Master Peel is still alive?
The Separatists won't dare kill Master Peel until they have what they need.
He obtained the coordinates of a secret hyperspace lane known as the Nexus Route, which travels into the heart of both the Republic and Separatist homeworlds.
They could prove vital in maneuvering our forces deep into remote Separatist sectors.
Or the enemy could use them to slip through our defenses and attack Coruscant.
These hyperspace lanes are of immense interest to both our sides, and could tip the scale of the war to whomever is in possession of them. That is all.
Awesome. So, this week we are talking The Citadel, the Clone Wars arc for Season 3, Episodes 18, 19, and 20. And it's a lot of fun. I know when Cheyenne, you and I were talking, you said this was one of your top favorites.
Yeah, I really like, as a whole, connecting to the episodes in Clone Wars that you don't think about the moment, like, you don't think about that having to happen to create what happens in the movies. The meeting of the people that he meets in this, that Anakin meets in this, the way that events unfold as well, like how it affects them as characters, I think really means a lot. Like I mentioned, Mortis is my favorite amongst every other Star Wars fan, almost ever. Mortis is a good arc, but this one is definitely a close second just based on that, because I really like when it connects to the movies.
Absolutely. Nick, what were your first thoughts on it?
Kind of dark for, like, I think this was one of, like, that moment where you realize that Clone Wars was taking a huge turn. Like, it started off as that, like, that kid's show, and then it just keeps evolving. And this arc is definitely, like, it's that stepping stone to how we remember Clone Wars when it was on, where it started off as, like, childlike, very, like, Rebels Season 1-ish, and then now we're at this level where it's, like, almost like an episode of Band of Brothers. Like, it's serious, it's it's almost intense.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with you. Very dark. Lots of death. Kind of gruesome at one point, at a few points and everything. Which it reminded me too. While we were watching it, I forgot to mention this to you. The Citadel actually shows back up in Rebels. Because I know we just recently picked Rebels back up. Yeah. I'm not sure at what point, but I know Kanan goes because he thinks that not Barriss, Luminara. Yeah. He thinks Luminara's alive. And ends up being a trick.
Oh,
you remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah, they find a mummified corpse. Yeah, kids show.
Ooh, that's so...
Yeah. So the Citadel's obviously no joke. So kind of a little background on it and everything. So with this episode, we start off that Master Evan Peel has been captured. Do we know what species he is? He is or anything?
No.
Okay. I didn't look. I know he's like Yoda-esque, but Russian.
We can Google it.
We can Google
Wikipedia.
it. Okay.
Looking on the archives right now.
There you go. Check him out. He's what now?
Alanic or Lonic.
Alanic. Okay. Interesting. But yeah, so he's pretty awesome. He's kind of intense.
Very rough.
Very, very. I mean, I guess that happens when you lose an eye, so I don't know. Exactly. But yeah, so Evan Peel's been captured, and the Jedi have been tasked to go rescue him from the Citadel. The Citadel was created basically to keep Jedi in, and not to let anything from the outside to come in.
Rogue Jedi.
Yes, Rogue Jedi.
Rogue.
Which I'm wondering what Rogue Jedi are in there, because all the ones that we know of are out of there. So it's kind of like it's like it's not really serving its purpose. It's like,
I just want to know who. I mean, does it say who designed it?
Yeah, Sebek did himself.
He designed it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Why would he know what would keep a Jedi inside?
Dooku.
But did Dooku make him build it?
Yeah, he's part of the Separatists.
Yeah, but did he make him build it?
I don't know if he made him build
He's
it.
just like, I'm your boss. Do this.
It's Dooku. That's whatever he wants, one way or another.
I mean, solid argument. But yeah, so the Citadel's no joke, and the whole point of Evan Peel getting captured is because he has one half of the Nexus route memorized. And so this apparently it's secret hyperlanes that nobody knows about and all this other kind of stuff that could basically tip the scales of the war. So obviously, naturally, everyone is after this little man. So the first thing I guess I want to kind of add to this. So I don't know if y'all notice, I always recognize the voice actors. I'll see somebody randomly in different things, and I'm like, oh, that's so and so from so and so and so and so. She hates it and loves it simultaneously, but
I enjoy that people know it, but I can't do it.
Yeah.
Or I'll recognize the voice and I'll have no idea who it is. I'm like, I know you from something else, and I don't know your name.
Yeah, exactly. But what's cool is like, so this entire arc basically is the James Arnold Taylor show.
Yes.
Because he is both Obi-Wan, Plo Koon, and O.C. Sobek, the villain, simultaneously. And at one point, I think that in one of the episodes, he's Obi-Wan's talking with O.C. Sobek, and he makes some kind of comment of how frustrating he is, or insufferable, or something. And it's just like, I wonder what it was like to act that out.
He says something about a soft voice that Sobek has.
Yeah.
I love the commentary between that. It's great.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And so I really love kind of like we really get to see the range of James Arnold Taylor in this too. It's just it's impressive. I hope to meet the man one day. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
It's gonna be a celebration.
Yes, he is.
yes, he is. I'm so excited. So, are you guys both going to be at Celebration?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
Awesome.
not going all 5 days. I will be there for 4 days, but I will not. I'll only be at Celebration Friday and Saturday.
Okay. Well, we'll sneak you in somehow or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty good.
I mean, we are bringing BB-8, so if we can get you somehow in there, so there you go.
I don't really know if I want to try and take him on the plane that I'm
Just
getting
have
on.
them in your lap. They won't know.
This is my child.
If they can bring Scooby-Doo on a plane dressed as a grandma, you could bring BB-8 in, I'm sure. Just discuss it with your dog.
This is not threatening at all. Look how cute this little ball is.
I'll just have him follow me through TSA and see what they say.
Just see if they stop him.
They're short-handed, so they might not even care.
Probably gonna go up to it and kick it, I'm sure.
You wouldn't believe how many people would actually try to do that with actual size BB-8s. It's ridiculous.
Somebody asked me when I bought him, they were like, "Why do you have BB-8 in a box?" And part of me was like, "Oh, this is the theming because I'm at Disney World. They want to know why BB-8's in a box." Yeah. And I'm like, "He's napping. I don't know. He's recharging." And then somebody was actually concerned as a fellow guest. They were like, "Why do you have your BB-8 in the box?" And I was like, "I just bought him. I'm not going to have him rolling around where people can take him from me." Right. Yeah.
Have you not seen Force Awakens? Have you learned nothing?
Yeah.
You guys are gonna come up and try to steal it.
Right, yeah. No, I'm with you. So Cheyenne, kind of having the foreknowledge of your episodes coming up, I know at one point you mentioned something about battle droids. And we get quite a lot of the comedic battle droids. I wanted to know your thoughts on them. You don't like them?
When I was a kid, I really loved looking at my dad and being like, "Roger, Roger." Whenever he told me to do something and then I'd go do it, I'd be like, "Got it. Okay." And I don't hate it. I probably said that I hated it because I probably hated it in that moment. And I was like, ugh. I don't hate it because it brings in that whole child TV show aspect. And I think that that's important to keep them interested, to keep them laughing, to not keep it so dark because Star Wars does that very quickly. But I also am just I think it's just a lot in one moment. Does that make sense?
I understand.
Sometimes when they are making their jokes or they are being funny, there's just so much joke.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, they can moving on. We gotta go.
Yeah. Personally, I loved the R2 and his band of merry droids.
Yes.
I thought that was incredible.
I think that's cool that they are programmed to listen to him. And I love this moment. I do love when he says it was a pleasure serving with you, sir.
R2, we need your droids to hold off the enemy as long as possible. Good. Everybody, follow me!
This is sheer madness.
We understand, sir. We will delay the enemy as long as possible. Prepare for attack. It was an honor to serve under you, sir.
Keep moving!
All for one and one for me.
That's both sweet and at the same time hilariously bad.
Yeah, and but R2 deserves that.
He does. Yeah. He does.
He deserves that recognition.
He does.
Major character at least once, so yeah, I think he.
Well, and that's what kind of got me in that moment. So you brought up the part where literally his entire crew that R2 is in charge of is just like, "We'll give our lives for you, sir. Turn around or done within 3 seconds." And it's just kind of like, oh, okay, all right, well, yeah. that's that.
All right.
So it's almost kind of like it makes me wonder, so was R2 that great of a commander? Or did he literally just throw the bantha fodder at them and was like, maybe this will buy us some time. Who knows?
Yeah. He was like, I knew they were expendable. Turn around.
Yeah. He just slaps every droid or throws them down a pit or breaks them.
Yeah.
Even he makes a comment at some point in the series these droids are valuable. Well, you learn from the Republic on how they treat clones, and he's just like, screw you, I do what I want.
Exactly, yeah. Which, I mean, in continuing with the droid treatment, so one other thing that kind of cracked me up was at one point, Sobek, when they were like, the droid told him they escaped. He's like, show them what it means what happens when they say that word. And I was like, what does that teach any of them at all, ever? Like, they don't know fear, they're programming.
I think that's why it annoys me with their comedy. Because
inconsistency.
Because they're programming. It's just like, and there's just so many things in the air with droid programming, and I'm like, what's the truth?
Well, I can elaborate on that really quick.
Go.
After episode 1, with all the droids being controlled by one central ship, now they're all kind of connected through each different droid. Each different droid has different programming. Therefore, I'm sure there's going to be some sort of bugs in the programming, and that's maybe why they act a little kooky. Minus the assassin droids, because they're doing what they're designed to do.
Exactly. Those assassin droids were mean in this one.
Around, yeah. So
yeah, okay, that makes sense. Because I mean, basically, it's almost like with that constant communication, they're rewriting their code without rewriting their code. So I guess,
and I just don't. I get it.
And then Skynet was born. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I mean, you're not entirely wrong on that.
So coming to our next scene, Kristen, I'll let you take this one.
Oh, the carbonite freezing. It was funny to me because it was like a new scene, but an old scene in a way. Because, they were very afraid of it, but we see it in the movies when Vader carbonites Han in order to take him to Jabba. And I know one of the funny parts that I really enjoy is Fives. He says he didn't want to be a wall decoration. And I was like, it's like they know, but they don't know.
It's poetry.
Exactly. Well, and so it kind of reminded me too. So I know with Rogue One, when it came out, everyone, for whatever reason, Nick already knows where I'm going. With the whole don't choke on your aspirations, everyone lost their mind about, Vader's making corny jokes and everything. Come on now, Anakin uses the
corny jokes.
He always has. He's a living, walking troll. That's what Anakin is.
Dad jokes.
Yes. Because, I mean, that's the thing is, like, so when he's doing the carbon freezing there, like, it's almost as if he's just, like, smirking, like, I got him to do it. And then on top of that, he turns around and uses that on his daughter's boyfriend.
Yeah, very much.
So what dad wouldn't have? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
See, for me, that's the whole part of, like, having all of these things connect, because nobody ever thinks about the fact that Darth Vader was, I mean, they always think about the fact that Darth Vader was Anakin Skywalker. That's the whole point. But the fact that, like, he's still Anakin Skywalker in a suit. He's still mentally screwed up, but he also is still mentally himself. So even though he sounds scary when he says something like that, he's still just like, heh.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, and that was something that we had mentioned actually on last week's show. We watched Twilight of the Apprentice, and the moment where Vader comes in on top of a TIE fighter and just floats down. It's like, you've got to imagine what happened before that cool moment happened. Like, you watch Vader climbing on top of his ship. It's like, dude, this is going to be awesome. Just watch. Look at his face. Look at his face.
Yeah. Like, I hope I don't fall down on this thing now.
Right. Yeah, hold my bantha milk. But I mean, like, it's Anakin, and I think that's what's cool about this arc, among many other things, is that you get a lot of Anakin showcased. Oh,
he did like a whole physical reaction, and I was like, "What is wrong?"
I just thought about this. Where the hell did this TIE fighter go? Like, you never see it again after he comes down on.
Didn't it explode?
Because it's not needed.
No,
it's the entrance. That's what it is.
He leaves on it. He leaves in it though. But where does it go? Yeah, he does.
He walks out. He walks out of the temple damaged. It was in the temple when.
So we don't actually see him leave.
A TIE fighter flies away at the end.
Maul.
So maybe
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yeah, Maul
Know
steals
that.
the Inquisitor's TIE fighter.
Yeah, he's
Yep.
the Inquisitor, not Vader's though. So that means Vader's got
Okay.
blown up.
But did Vader's get blown up, or did it fly away without him? It was like, bye.
Peace.
I'm out.
Right.
Man, it's a lot of concentration to, use the Force on a ship like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
No,
I
but
imagine.
couldn't it be like programmed to be like,
autopilot?
bye? Yeah.
Could be. I
Go
mean,
back.
he is a droid builder, so
Yeah.
Maybe he
Programmer.
called, like, Palpatine before, and he was like, I'm gonna do a cool trick. It's gonna wreck my TIE fighter. Dad, I need you to come pick me up.
You can't do that again.
It's the sixth one this week, Vader.
these aren't cheap.
Oh god.
But I mean, I love seeing Anakin be Anakin, whether that be in the Vader suit or as he is here. And like we get a lot of that. Like so, I loved when they come out of the carbon freezing and just casually he's like, "Oh, hey, Snips." She's like, "Hey, Master," and then the look he gives her,
He's
just like that dad look, like what?
I like the line when Obi-Wan says like it was my eyesight bad or something, or is that Ahsoka?
Yeah.
And then Anakin's like, no, but Ahsoka needs to work on her listening skills and like that.
But her hearing may be affected.
Yeah.
Okay, I do have a question about that. The carbon freezing as a whole, because they had like the symptoms of carbon freezing sickness, but they were not as like trash
I
as
can
Han
answer that
was.
question. They
Nick's
weren't
got
in
you.
carbonate as long as Han was. Han was in carbonate for like
Right.
a year, if not over. So
That makes
they were in
sense.
carbonate for maybe like 10, 15 minutes.
Okay,
Han
I was
was
wondering
stuck in that
if it was
forever.
because it was like
Short
they were
term.
willingly doing it.
They didn't struggle. That's what. No, I'm just kidding.
Like, clearly, I don't want to
They
do
didn't
this.
come out looking like, hands up and everything.
Right. But yeah, theirs was more of a temporary freezing, whereas Han's was looking to be permanent. So- He was going along with the wall decoration part of it. See, and it makes me wonder if Vader remembered that or something like that, like wall decoration.
Like, I hope Jabba uses that as a wall decoration. That'd
Right.
be such great interior design.
Like low key, he was like, "Hey Jabba, this is what you should do with him." Just a suggestion, not telling you how to live your life, but this is what you should do. Oh my goodness. But and I like that Ahsoka, as Ahsoka does, always throws back anything Anakin says back in his face with the, "Well, you do it too." The whole if there's one thing I've learned from you, it's following direct orders isn't always the best way. And so it's just kind of like, oh, come on.
And Obi-Wan chimes in as Obi-Wan normally does.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I mean, she's always got a point.
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
She's got a point. And for me, because, like, I was amongst, I think, the masses in the fact that I didn't love Ahsoka as Snips until she kind of, like, grew into being, like, well, Master.
Mhm.
Instead of being, like, a sassy 5-year-old, she was more like...
Sky Guy.
Yeah. She was more like, but actually, like, you're training me and I need to be trusted and, like, let me do my thing.
She became the female version of Anakin. That's when
Oh,
she
absolutely.
really Ahsoka, and that's when everyone began to love her as her character progressed after seasons 1 and 2. It was after Mortis, I think, people started to get that like respect for her as a character.
Oh, definitely, yeah. So one thing that we've talked about multiple times on the show is basically like the development of the young characters. So like Ezra, a complaint with him was whiny. All that kind of, he was whiny. He was immature. Ahsoka, almost said Snips. Wouldn't be wrong, but yeah. Ahsoka had the same thing. Luke, same thing.
Whiny.
Yeah.
Power converter.
Whiny.
Yeah.
Anakin whiny.
Anakin started out whiny too. So I mean, it's a common trope, but I think it's just to show how far they've come. And I think with Ahsoka, I mean, even though we get a lot of Anakin, she has the most growth throughout the entire series.
Oh yeah,
Without a doubt. Like, there's no question.
Yeah, no.
she's almost kind of the what if of Anakin, I believe. Like if Anakin would have just admitted to himself where he was and how he actually felt about everything and just walked away, this is where it could have been, kind of thing.
Now, I'm sure you guys have heard the whole theory behind the fact that, like, his prophecy, spoiler alert for anybody who is listening and hasn't ever seen Star Wars.
Yes.
If they've never seen Star Wars, why are they here?
For his whole prophecy of, like, he's supposed to bring balance to the Force.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, there was not technically a Sith in play.
Mm-hmm.
Palpatine was still behind the scenes, so people were like, oh, he brought balance by bringing out Palpatine and having the two Sith and the Jedi still in play, and that brought balance to the Force for a moment in time. And, like, that was, I don't even remember where I heard that, but somebody was like, he fulfilled his prophecy because he brought balance for a moment in time. And I'm like, I don't really agree with that, but it makes sense.
The way I saw the prophecy was he takes out the dark side, and in the end, he does by throwing the Emperor down, and then which kills himself. Therefore, he technically does fulfill the prophecy.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes a while to get there.
See, I do believe that Anakin is the chosen one. I believe he did bring balance, but I think that it was Luke that continued said balance. Because if you think about it, like we don't really have anything certain saying what is balance. I mean, I don't think that it's a numbers game like a lot of people say or anything like that, because if that were the case, the Jedi lost real quick.
Right.
It was just kind of, it was done. But as far as the actual balance and everything, I think, and the more stuff that comes out with it, especially with the Vader 25 comic that we recently reviewed as well, it was almost as if Anakin may have been the cause of the imbalance because of how powerful he was and the unnatural circumstances around just his being. And so with him having that much power, it's almost as if by creating him, or by him coming into existence, it created imbalance. By him leaving and taking the other powerful Sith Lord with him, created the balance. But there's the other side of, to the Jedi, balance is no Sith. To the Sith, balance is no Jedi. So it's again, from a certain point of view. So unless we really get what the prophecy said, there's
what
no
is
way
balance
we really know.
to the Force? Who wrote the prophecy?
Exactly. Well, and even Yoda doubts it in Attack of the Clones. A prophecy misread it, maybe. So it's just kind of like, okay, does anybody know what's going on? Like,
the answer is no. Nobody knows what's going on.
Well, and to what you said, Nick, I think Mortis is the closest that we get to finding out anything about what balance means. But even then, it tells us a lot without telling us anything. So, which is another reason why I love Mortis. I love having these conversations. I'm sorry. I could talk all day about just the Force. It's like, oh, what is it? But yeah.
Surround you.
So what did you guys think of Captain Tarkin?
Love seeing young Tarkin. Love.
I hope you got that sound in there. He is still a jerk.
Yes.
He, to me, this is where it comes into play, though, for me to enjoy how it connects to the movies. Because this was a similar moment to when Thrawn Alliances got announced.
Okay.
And we see Anakin and Thrawn on a book cover together, and everyone loses their mind, including me. And I still haven't read it, so I just don't know what's going on. But it's the same feeling, because when I saw Anakin as Anakin with Tarkin, and Tarkin in a different position, technically.
No, he was.
Yeah, but like he was still like buddies with Palpatine, and like to me, like friendship wise, Tarkin and Palpatine are still buds, but Anakin and Palpatine are buds, and Palpatine's the only one that knows what's going on anywhere.
Right.
So that just brought a lot together because I like seeing how quickly he stood up to Tarkin, because that's part of Anakin's character is his confidence, and it's part of what attracts audience members to that character. And then also seeing how Tarkin is just very
stern
in the background. He is stern. He is very stern, but he's just kind of like, oh, all right, I see you. I respect you.
Yeah,
and
when
then
Anakin kind of snaps back at him, that's when he's like, okay, this dude's got my respect. I'm usually used to because that's how the clones were. But Anakin having his own mind and him being a commander, it's just, or a general, it's just like, okay, I respect this guy. He knows when to say the right things.
My sass matches your sass.
Yeah.
A job well done, General Skywalker. I wish more Jedi had your military sensibilities. Perhaps I can inform the Chancellor of your valor.
I'm not sure what to think of your new ally.
Well, I think we need people like him. This is a war. If we aren't willing to do what it takes to win, we risk losing everything we try to protect.
Unfortunately, war tends to distort our point of view. If we sacrifice our code, even for victory, we may lose that which is most important. Our honor.
Can I, jump forward a little, kind of towards the end? But it involves Tarkin. When him and Anakin shake hands, and the music, and I, my whole body was like, whoa!
Yep.
I was like, yeah! That just, all of that makes
Dark
me so
alliances
happy.
were made that day.
Absolutely.
And I was
Absolutely.
like, this is
well, and so so talking about that moment and everything, so I went ahead and I pulled the quote that actually Anakin and Obi-Wan were talking at that point, because he says, I don't know about your new ally, not sure how I feel or whatnot, but Tarkin brings it up multiple times, and so does Anakin throughout the 3 episodes, about how the Jedi lack the ability to do what's necessary. It's a theme that we see throughout the entire prequel trilogy of Anakin, and you kind of get that snapshot of where his mind's at this point too, which is scary. But so what Anakin says, he says, this is a war. If we aren't willing to do what it takes to win, we risk losing everything we try to protect. I like that all of it. I love it.
There's a car horn going off in my parking
Is there
lot.
really?
I'm sorry.
You're fine.
Yes, that's okay.
I was like,
we can't hear it.
what is
Yeah.
that? I got what you were saying, though.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Okay. But with what Anakin said there, I feel like there's a snapshot of Anakin, to be honest, because he talks about what he's trying to basically what we try to protect. He's talking about Padme. He's talking about the things that he loves that he can't let go and everything, which end up being his downfall. And then Obi-Wan comes back with, unfortunately, war tends to distort our point of view. If we sacrifice our code, even for victory, we may lose that which is most important, our honor. Which Anakin's kind of like, whatever.
Yeah, he doesn't even react. He's just like, all right.
Yeah.
Cool.
He's like, but completing things. Getting things done, though. But I like seeing, because in that moment, I feel like we're seeing where Obi-Wan and Anakin stand forever, to be honest. Because you get them at their core and their code and everything. And it's scary seeing how, and I think even Ahsoka a couple times kind of gives Anakin kind of a worried look of, you agree with this, wacko? Like, what's happening here?
Yeah, and definitely not just in this episode, because, or not in this arc, because there are times where people give him looks, or like, I give him a look
even Rex,
through the TV screen. I'm like, ugh.
Someone as loyal as Rex even looks at Anakin like, this isn't you.
Right.
What's this? What's up? Yeah. So it's like, he knows that there's something kind of off.
Oh, absolutely. Most definitely. So one thing, actually, Kristen, you had brought up a question, so I'll let you read it.
So I actually had to I don't know, when I was sitting there watching stuff, I just was really thinking about it, and I had to kind of make Danny pause it to kind of talk it out, because I was like, wait a second. I was like, so you're telling me that this Nexus route would be, like, the tipping part of the war, and essentially they were going to use it in order to do an attack on Coruscant, and I was like, Coruscant's where Palpatine is, and Palpatine's the one that's kind of turning everything, and everything like that. And I was like, but if they would have succeeded and did this and decided to attack Coruscant, would Order 66 ever had to happen? I guess not.
Or what would Palpatine have even done?
Right.
Because you know he's got contingencies for his contingencies, so...
Right.
Star Wars Deception.
Yeah.
Right.
I know.
I don't know.
Like, they obviously get access to it because of the attack on Coruscant at the beginning of Episode 3.
Mm-hmm.
So something obviously had to have happened to trigger that, besides the fact that the Chancellor got kidnapped by Grievous and all that, you know.
Yeah, I was about to say, what I'm wondering is if because he was off of Coruscant.
No, don't know if it's that story's canon anymore, but when Palpatine did get captured, it was on Coruscant.
But that's what I'm saying, is he, in the movie, he's off Coruscant when Order 66 happens. And I wonder if what they were trying to do, like what you said, like his contingencies
Wait, you say the
have
Emperor was on
contingencies.
Was off Coruscant?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't. He was on Coruscant.
He tells Anakin to go to the Jedi Temple.
That's on Coruscant.
Kristen, yeah, Anakin, not Palpatine.
But Palpatine was still on Coruscant.
But when they're there, regardless of all of that, when they're there, Order 66 happens. I'm wondering if it only happens because that, like what you were saying with, would it have ever had to happen?
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, if they would have gotten this Nexus and they had, because like they did exactly what they thought they were, or not did, but they later Dooku said they were going to attack Coruscant with it if they were able to get it. So I was like, if they attacked it though, they essentially like this would have been the war, like they would have won.
And the goal would have been to go after Palpatine, but Dooku is working with Palpatine. So then there's okay, we get the thing. Do we just, like, slam on the brakes and go, oh, no, I lost it?
Right, but obviously Order 66 was already in motion, too.
Would they have focused on the Jedi Temple, though? For the attack on Coruscant? Would it have just been, like, hey, we're an almighty power, like... Because technically then they would have been the Separatists attacking Coruscant, not...
Right.
Right.
Maybe it could have been another way for Palpatine to jump into his emergency powers quicker.
Yeah. That too.
So maybe just upping the timetable, but things play out the same way.
Right, because Order 66 is already like in motion with the clones.
Right, because they already planned that regardless.
Right.
Because the Jedi versus like the citizens is a totally different thing.
Yeah, it's a totally different war.
So, but I was just like, if they would have gotten it.
These are the things that keep us up at night. We love our crazy theories. But it was just an interesting thing to think about, though, because it was just kind of like, okay, well, could this have ever succeeded? And if it had, then where would it be?
Was Order 66 like the very last plan? Like, did we just run through all of Palpatine's, like...
Final card! Here's the ace!
Right.
I feel like instead of options, it was just a checklist. It was like, all right, we did that, we did that, we did that. Order 66, gotta go.
Yeah, there's certain orders, you know. So,
That's one thing that's always baffled us is just Palpatine in general, talking about how he seems to always have a plan for something. And his plans have plans, and they have plans, and it's just kind of like...
His backup plans have backup plans.
Yeah, it's like, how do you work your way... Yeah, exactly. It's almost as if, like, if his plan doesn't go that way, well, it makes me think of The Office. It's like, if I can't win, I just quit until it's say it's not fair.
He gets himself kidnapped, that's why.
Yeah, there you go. It's like, I quit, guys. I quit.
I feel like that is always his backup plan. He always ends up getting taken by someone.
Yeah. It's almost like a reset.
Like, hey, I need you to come get me.
They call that Separatist Uber.
Yeah.
No, I need you.
Mom, I'm scared. Can you come pick me up?
That's perfect. The Separatist Uber. I like that. Goodness. So I know I mentioned a little bit to you guys. So I don't know if you know anything about this. I actually just learned about this tonight. So I'm kind of excited about it. So in this episode, we see one of Domino Squadron. Echo dies, supposedly. So I didn't know this because I've never seen the unfinished episodes or anything, but apparently Echo's not dead.
Yeah, it's a really weird thing.
So I actually pulled out kind of, I guess, what happens or whatever. So from StarWars.com, while on a covert mission with the Bad Batch squad, which is another interesting thing, Captain Rex detected a signal, a voice saying CT-1409, leading him to believe that Echo was still alive. He works with the Bad Batch, and apparently Echo is like half droid or something.
The one thing I've learned about Star Wars, if there's no body, they're not dead.
Exactly.
Like, the one thing I've learned, and I'm like, okay, Darth Maul's dead. Clone Wars, nope. Yeah. He's like, oh, he's gonna die. Obi-Wan finally kills him, and then it's like, okay, now he's finally dead. We see that body die.
Yeah.
So at that point, it's just like, no body, no death.
Well, and I would have never thought to think that he was alive at all because he was right next to the ship. I would have thought that would have just incinerated him, but apparently there was enough to salvage.
We assumed that Gregor died too, but then he came back in Rebels Season 2.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
On StarWars.com, does it specify like why he's
I don't know about that.
Droid now? Hard droid?
The Techno Union gets to him.
Okay.
Yeah. Aside from that, I have no idea. But apparently he plays a key role in a major Republic attack later on the Separatists at Anaxis. And yeah, so he's a whole thing with the Bad Batch and everything, Clone Force 99, which that's interesting in and of itself, but that may be another episode.
That makes me wonder if he even knows who he is. Like, does he even know he's Echo?
I don't know. That's the thing. I haven't seen any of this, so yeah.
Well, we'll find out when that Season 7 drops later this year.
Exactly. That's my thought, because that's something that Kristen and I have been talking about for a while, is what will Clone Wars Season 7 be? Everybody wants Siege of Mandalore, but...
episodes and then some.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you can't have, 13 episodes of just... I mean, you could, but... but I mean, yeah.
Season, The Lost Missions wasn't it 13 episodes?
Yeah.
I know that when I was listening to because I have 25,000 Star Wars podcasts that I listen to.
Same.
When I was listening to one of them, and I don't remember which one, they were talking about how they were like listing off the arcs that needed to be finished.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a ton of them.
Okay.
And they were like, it's going to be interesting how they're going to intertwine that instead of just have 13 random episodes that have random arcs being finished. It's gonna be like a continuation, but also like jumpy enough for us to finish the arcs without being too scatterbrained. But it makes me wonder, like, if something like that is significant enough to address. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, because there are other things that are more pertinent to the whole story.
Well, and then with that too, with these stories technically being told through unfinished episodes that were on StarWars.com, would we want to see these reiterated? Does this make this not canon, and now there's something else that'll be? Like, it's just a lot of unknown, I think, at this point.
Well, two things. One, there is a certain, I think it's the first unfinished episode that's there. There's a big plot with Obi-Wan and Anakin. I don't want to get too much into it because if someone hasn't seen it. But it has something to do with something that's a very big significance in the original trilogy. And that kind of, I'm assuming it's canon, but it's not, like, just because it's not like that doesn't mean it isn't canon. And with it in Season 7, it will be. So there's that.
If it's in Season 7.
It's going to be. And that's my next point. I was listening to one of James Arnold Taylor's podcasts recently that he just started. Apparently, the rumor that he kind of hinted at but didn't specify, so he kind of couldn't really say it, but he did anyway, that it's going to go into Order 66.
Yes.
Yay.
Which is exactly what you were wanting.
Yeah, it seems like it has to.
So, we'll see. It's also going to integrate the Ahsoka novel. It's going to integrate the unfinished episodes. They also recorded new material last February.
Mm-hmm.
So there might be more surprises along the way. I'm not sure. We might, for all we know, we might see young Kanan in it. We don't know.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. I would lose it seeing little Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
That would be so cool. Yeah.
It's break my heart.
Because, I mean, that would be the direct connection to Rebels, too, so...
It'd be perfect, especially after the Order 66. Like, and we don't really see Depa Billaba at all in Clone Wars. It'd be a perfect way to introduce her to that.
Oh, man.
Even
See, now if
I'm saving you. Oh, look, I'm dead. So,
right.
Yeah, doesn't he explain what happens to him during Order 66
there's a
already?
comic book, but it doesn't...
Doesn't he talk about it in Rebels?
He does
little.
mention it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But it'd be cool to see an animation.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and I'm wondering, too, if... And I know I've heard this theory a bunch as well, that the Star Wars Jedi... what's it called? The game that's supposed to be coming out.
Oh.
Fallen Order?
Yeah, Fallen Order. I wonder if it might have anything to do with Kanan.
Anything that's being released right now is canon, minus the Lego shows. So.
Oh, I meant Kanan. Yeah.
It's possible.
That'd be kind of cool.
I was hoping that. I mean, I don't know the details on Fallen Order. Is it in the original trilogy?
It's supposed to be like right as Order 66 is happening, so you're actually on the run. So yeah,
it's possible. But I mean, what I'm really hoping for Fallen Order, if that's the case, the younglings from the Clone Wars arcs.
Oh man, yes, that would be awesome.
That'd be really fun to play that. Yeah. I'm not really like up to date on game news because I'm bad at that. But that would be really fun to play like Jedi on the Run.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Digging it. I mean,
well, and it kind of makes me scared that we haven't heard anything else about the game. Like it was released, or the title was released, and that was the last we heard. I think it was like last year or something like that.
Well, and didn't they just cancel 2 games?
They canceled 1 game.
They were like, open world is no more.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, Felicia.
So hopefully somebody will get it together and we'll get something cool. I'm excited to play more Star Wars for sure.
Yeah.
But so I guess kind of a final thought. So one thing that we noticed, because at the end of this arc, Tarkin has part of the route, or the route, and my Southern is coming out. Part of the route, and Ahsoka has it now as well, because Evan Peel does die at the hands of a very awful, awful beast. Has the worst howl ever. But he passes on the Nexus route to Ahsoka, that his half, and so with Tarkin declining to give it to the Jedi Order, and saying, "Oh no, I'm only going to give it to Palpatine," and then Ahsoka's like, "No, I'm only giving it to the Jedi." I wonder if this has any kind of bearing on the later arc where we see Ahsoka falsely accused, because Tarkin pushes really hard for the death penalty.
Yeah.
Like, really hard.
Well, we get from the beginning of that, like, he does not like Ahsoka. He even says that he doesn't like the idea of following orders from a child.
But see, you know why I think he doesn't like Ahsoka? Because Palpatine has already got little roots in Tarkin's head about what's going to happen. Whether or not he's told him outright or whatever, he's planting him.
I think he knows something. Yeah.
Yeah, and Ahsoka is the good side of Anakin. She keeps him on his feet to be Anakin Skywalker and not Darth Vader. Without her in the picture, he will lean to the dark side more and more and more every single time.
Even then, Tarkin doesn't seem like he has he doesn't like the Jedi at all. He doesn't like their customs. He doesn't like who they are.
He doesn't like anything.
Yeah.
He doesn't. He wants to be in charge. He doesn't care about
That's
anything
all
or anyone.
He wants power.
But I think Ahsoka specifically, he just doesn't like her because he knows that he sees Anakin's reactions to him as a being, and then he sees Anakin's reactions when Ahsoka's around.
Yeah.
or when he needs to lead Ahsoka, or whatever happens. Ahsoka is a boundary.
So kind of assessing the weakness and cutting out the weakness kind of thing.
Possibly.
I could see that. I could see that for sure. But yeah, I did like the exchange with Palpatine, well, not Palpatine, Tarkin and Anakin, where Tarkin's like, "Oh yeah, I'm in with the Chancellor," and Anakin's like, "Yeah, so am I." And he's like, "You are?" It was almost kind of like, "You know things too."
Friends with that person as well.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Well, and it makes me feel like that's where Tarkin's kind of like, "Oh, so you're in on the plan. You know what's gonna happen," kind of, and everything. And Anakin's like, "He's just my BFF, dude. Like, it's all good." But yeah, so cool. So did you guys have any final thoughts or anything like that you wanted to add about the arc or anything?
I know I definitely wrote in my notes, we literally covered everything else except for this. So
okay.
The Jedi burials or something that we miss out on sometimes, I think would be the right way to put it. Because we see them in the movies twice.
Yeah.
Twice. And in 2 different forms and in 2 different places, because like with Darth Vader, they were on Endor. That was convenient. For this mission, they were on a planet with a lava river. And that was convenient. And I think it says a lot about like the Jedi religion, that they will just take the time to stop and do that wherever it is. Because like even reflecting back to what Obi-Wan says about like we lose our honor and we lose our customs if we don't focus on these things. And I think that like Jedi burials are a big part of that. And it's not ever something I really appreciated until I saw like Darth Vader burn one day. And I was, when I like watched that movie, I was just like, that's real nice that he did that for him. And also, Luke, how'd you know to do that? First of all,
yeah,
he told you that. But he did it. Is it a Jedi custom? Is it a Star Wars custom?
A little bit of both.
And yeah, I was gonna say, and like what I guess I don't know what defines a Jedi burial.
I'm not sure, because like you said, we really don't get a whole lot of look into that custom and everything. But seeing that though, where all 3 of them are using the Force to lower him in and all that kind of stuff, just the care with it and everything, like it honestly reminded me of what is it in Thor: The Dark World? Which when they bury, or not, they don't bury her, but when they send Freya out to see his mother and everything, where it's just like everyone's there, everyone's helping, everyone's a part of this. And that's what it kind of reminded me of, the way that they kind of lowered him in slowly and they stayed there till he was gone and all this other kind of stuff. Like it was just, it was a beautiful moment in a lava planet. But
you mean a horrible place.
About that really quick. Well, we do learn that when Obi-Wan fakes his death later on in the show, that they do regular burials and they have caskets. They have chambers.
That's true.
In the Jedi Temple. So yes, it kind of depends maybe on how the Jedi dies per se. I mean,
or if those caskets are only for people that fake their death.
I mean, I don't know.
Staging.
This is my I have to get up at 4 a.m. brain.
Oh my gosh.
It's a fun brain. It's a fun brain.
It's a fun brain. It's fine.
Well, cool. So, do any of you guys, anybody else have any last thoughts or anything like that on the arc? Overall, I think we really enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's great. It's good. I like it a lot.
It's been a minute since I've seen it. So when you had said, especially with us going kind of inadvertently with the Vader theme this month, when you had said that, I was like, oh man, I hadn't watched that one in a while, and I loved it. Love it.
Yeah, it's definitely one that I like. I guess I could call it iconic for me. I was like, that's a good one.
Absolutely.
Everybody knows what you're talking about when you say Citadel.
Yeah. Good job. Good job. So cool, guys. So we'll go ahead and we'll close it out. Thank you guys for coming on the show. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Anytime. Especially now that you're part of our Kessel Run Weekly family, which we're super excited about. So cool. So can you tell everyone where to find you guys?
Yeah, go ahead, Nick.
You go first.
Oh my god, okay. You can find me on Instagram at Jerica Training Academy. Jerica is Jerica, and there are periods in between every single one of those words. So again, Jerica Training Academy. And then my blog is CheyenneHoover.wordpress.com. That's a lot to spell, but you can find it. I believe in you. And basically, if you just, when you get to my website, go to my blog, and you will find Star Wars Sundays every single Sunday on various topics. Last week, I did Rey's lightsaber skills, because I know that was like a big debate amongst so many other debates. And I just kind of like I don't want to say debunked it, but I kind of like laid it out in how I saw it. So check that out, see if you like it. This Sunday is going to be Kylo Ren. So that'll be fun. Go ahead. That's all I got.
You can find me on Instagram, solo photographer photographer. You'll find me there. I have Facebook as well. You'll find me under just solo photographer, no underscores needed. And yeah, and of course, Castle Run Weekly.
Yay! Absolutely. Yay. And guys, their show comes out this Friday, so we're very, very excited again for that to happen. I know I've said that like 100 times, but I am genuinely pumped that we're doing this. So excited. Cheyenne and Nick are awesome. So definitely check it out. If you haven't followed them already, follow them at their socials. Show them some love. Talk Clone Wars with them. And just hang out with us. But yeah, you can find them on Clone Wars Commentary. It is on our regular podcast feed. So no need to go anywhere else. Because Friday is for Clone Wars. So yeah.
So convenient.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So cool, guys. So thank you, everyone, for listening or watching another episode of Castle Run Weekly. If you enjoyed this episode, please make sure to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review, and we'll read it on a future episode.
Yep. You can also find us on social media at Castle Run Weekly on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter, and on our website, CastleRunWeekly.com.
Absolutely. And again, guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
We love you guys. Y'all are awesome. And until next time, my name is Danny.
And I'm Kristen.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.